Hello and welcome to a special birthday edition of the Wizards of the Lal Street. I'm Ramesh Damani. A columnist once who saw the shuttle diplomacy of Henry Kissinger wrote that the story of his life has become the history of our times. In a similar fashion, the story of my guest, from a bureaucrat's son to a billionaire capitalist, is not only the stuff of legend but also traces and underlines the modern history of the Lal Street. It's a great pleasure for me to host on Wizards today the very opinionated, the somewhat controversial, but the always interesting Rakesh Jhunjhunwala.
I'm joined by India's best known investor Rakesh Jhunjhunwala.
It call for a lot to break 4,700. I think the Nifty bottomed at 5,700. I told her 10,750, 11,000, I think is the bottom.
You're continuing to be the Warren Buffett of India. You're not turning into Wilbur Ross. And
I want to be the Rakesh Jhunjhunwala of India. My all-time favorite Sharmila Thakur. Generally, I play test matches. Sometimes I play T20 cricket.
So this is T20 cricket.
गाना है ना, आएगा, हमारा दिन भी आएगा.
Welcome back to Wizards. Rakesh, it's been almost 15 years, but before we say that, let me wish you a very happy birthday. You're turning 60 and it's a great honor to host you on your 60th birthday. Welcome back, Rakesh.
Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you so much for your good wishes and thank you for inviting me.
Rakesh, you know, Aristotle used to say that an unexamined life is not worth living. As you turned 60, how do you examine your life and what you've been through?
Ramesh, during the last few months, I have been looking back and reminiscing of the life I've led. I feel, I want to examine many a time that have I used the right means and the right methods to do whatever I do in life? Do I have the right attitude to other humans? Am I empathic with them? Right? What are the personality flaws I have? I've been trying to identify them, and some of the personality, I think I have used the fairest of means possible. I'm very happy there and very contented about that. I think I'm too dominating a personality sometimes, I felt. And also, I tend to get angry very fast and then, bumble anything. So I think I need to improve those character flaws, the personality flaws that I have. Also, I feel that, at the age of 60, you've lived a large part of your life, surely 2/3, 70%, 80%. So you better do fast what you want to do, what you look forward to, maybe travel, maybe health, right? Maybe charity. Also, I feel that, I want to develop an interest which nothing can consume me like these markets. But I must develop an interest which consumes me as much as these markets do. Maybe learning singing, maybe learning playing the sitar, maybe learning dancing. So I must develop alternative interests which consume me other than the markets. Besides that, I think I'm very contented with the life I've led. I'm humble enough to realize that I need improvement. I need to recognize what is incorrect and improve it. I'm very contented with whatever life I've led, the family I had, the market I came to, whatever God gave me. I'm a contented man.
Rakesh, Warren Buffett famously said that when he was young, he always knew he would be rich. He never doubted it for a minute. Do you feel you're rich now at 60?
Well, I don't know whether I'm rich or not, but I know that materially God has, wealth also has a purpose in life. Wealth in isolation means nothing. I think God has given me far more than I need is how I look upon wealth. And even 1 billion is enough and maybe 50 billion is not enough. My force lies in striving in using the right means and methods to earn that wealth and not being disappointed if I don't earn it. To make effort is in my hands. The Gita says, effort is in our hands, the results is in his hands. So what I will do is do what I enjoy what I do. I have far more wealth than I need. If I earn it, good enough. If I don't, no problem. And I've learnt in life कि मांगने से और चाहने से नहीं मिलता है, वो जब देता है जब ही मिलता है. I am what I am by the grace of God and the blessing of elders. At the same time,
Rakesh,
I'm 60, only 60.
Yeah.
Mr. Warren Buffett earned 90% of his wealth after he reached 95, after he crossed 65. So, I mean, there is still a long time to go, hopefully so.
Rakesh, there's an old saying that, yes, thanks Rakesh. You know, there's an old saying that I am a part of all that I have met. When you came into Dalal Street in 1985, I know you had one of those historic meetings with two players, Ramesh Shah of Inam and Rakesh Damani. Can you tell me how they influenced you and how they shaped your career in the next 30 years?
Well, a lot of influences have influenced me in life, but nobody has influenced me the way Mr. Damani has influenced, Mr. Rakesh Damani. And what is very interesting is nobody introduced us. I had no office, I had only a bag. I used to be bullish on certain stocks, and I met Radhakishan on the streets of the Bombay Stock Exchange. And I don't know how and why, but we instantly struck a friendship. Because I always wanted a listener, and he always wanted to listen to somebody he thought makes sense. And then, I mean, what I've learned from him is, I think I wish I had his wisdom. Somebody was asking me, do you think he's going to buy India Cements? I think don't ask me, I told him he's smarter than me. He knows what to do and what not to do. What I learned from him is broad. I don't think there is an investor in India who doesn't even have one research analyst. Everything is done by him on broad thinking. Bullish, buy equity. Don't put money on interest. How to trade, I think I've learned, if I know 100 things in trading, I've learned 60 from Mr. Rakesh. And the beauty is it has to be learned, it cannot be taught. Then I think in personal matters, how that we must respect parents, his humility. Today, among being the richest man in India, he's not changed in any way. If I call him Radhakishan, kaisa hai? Kya tu office mein hai? Main abhi aata hu. I mean, that man's humility, the way his wisdom, I think after my father, I have learned the most from him. Radhakishan is a very broad numbers man. Well, Ramesh Bhai is a very much a numbers man. Radhakishan tries to make 2 plus 2 is 22. Ramesh Bhai tries to make 2 plus 2 is 4. From Ramesh Bhai, I have learned the importance of basic research, basic data, basic information, right? Both are extremely competitive humans, but extremely human-hearted and helpful and humble. I don't think I never repay my gratitude to Mr. Damani or Radhakishan ji or YT as we call him or Ramesh Bhai. They are two individuals I respect from the bottom of my heart, and I can never pay them enough for what they have taught me. Although I have differed from them many a time.
I know. Rakesh, they said you don't need permission to be great. Can you talk us through your initial trades that made you a contrarian, made you decide to think for yourself?
Well, Ramesh, thinking independently was a trait I had from childhood. And my father, I mean, I can never thank my father enough. You know, I was a very curious and very independent thinking child. And my father always encouraged both independent thinking and curiosity. I don't know the kind of patience my father had, very few fathers would have had. And I was not the only child, we were 4 of us. And I think that basically developed in me a thought process which was not necessarily to believe what everyone is saying, but try and think for yourself. And that's how, that's why I came to the stock market. I read a booklet taken out by Standard Chartered Bank while I was doing my articleship, saying that how capitalism is going to prevail in the country, right? And I thought if there was ever a temple of capitalism, it was the stock market. So I thought India will lose its twist with socialism and capitalism will prevail in this country. And if there is, the temple of capitalism has to be the stock market. And I don't know why, I love the way prices fluctuate in the stock market. And my romance with the stock market is like a romance with a girl. You can't pen down all the reasons, why you like the market. And my father always said, do what you want in life, have a basic education so you have security. So I became a chartered accountant. And my father said after that you please do what you want to do in life, but you want to go to the stock market, I will not financially support you, but I have a house, you can always live here. If you don't do well, you are a chartered accountant, you can always get a job, you're a smart fellow. But he said, remember one thing, your word is your bond, be fearless, right? And, may God bless you, for He is the only blesser. And that's how I came to the market, and then whatever trade, appealed to my mind. I used to do them. I never used to follow anybody necessarily. Somebody used to come and say, Manu bhai ye khareed rahe hain, Radhakishan ji ye khareed rahe hain, Ramesh bhai ye khareed rahe hain, apan bhi khareed lo. I never listened to all that. I did what I independently thought would work. And one thing which really made me a lot of money is that there was Mr. Bajaj, who was very bullish on Sesa. And he would explain Sesa to everybody, and when he explained to me, I thought it's a solid bullish story. And I really made a lot of money. And Radhakishan ji and Kamal Babu, I know, were both shorting it, and I was buying it at one rate. And the price, I started buying it 32, the price went to 27, and within 6 months the price was 70. So I think independent thinking is a personality trait which I had since childhood, and my father helped me develop it. I didn't want to be anybody's lackey. I didn't want to make money on borrowed knowledge.
Fair enough, Rakesh, but your breakout moment, if I recall correctly, came in 1989, Madhu Danvade's budget. That was the first act in your career that brought you both fame and fortune. Am I right?
Yeah, it did. Surely it did. Over a period of 4 or 5 years, not only the budget right up to 93, and we made a lot of money.
Yeah. Rakesh, let me just ask you a final question in this segment. You talked about your father saying, do not go to the stock market, but stay with us, keep your expenses low. How did that translate into your life partner, Rekha? How has she helped you in your investing career?
I would like to say for Rekha कि इस शादी में तलाक मुमकिन नहीं, क्योंकि ये शादी नहीं इश्क है. क्या बोलते हैं कि ये शादी में तलाक मुमकिन नहीं, क्योंकि ये शादी नहीं इश्क है. No, she knows nothing about stocks, but I think she has been my biggest support along with my dad and mother. Because, she comes from a wealthy family, and, it was a problematic because but I was going to the stock market. We come up from conservative Marwadi background, and, people would not want to get their daughter married to a person who's in the stock market and who has no job, although I was a chartered accountant. But my father had put up a crown cork factory, and my in-laws were under the impression that I'll work in that factory, and they agreed for the engagement. But the next day I called my in-laws and told them, sir, I'm not going to work in that factory. You can please break the engagement, but I'm going to go to the stock market. And when I first went to Rekha's house, I saw it was fully air-conditioned. She used to come and meet me in her own car. So I told her that, see, I don't have all those trappings of wealth, right? And I'm not going to accept anything from my dad or your dad. So we don't have an air-conditioned room, and we don't have a car. So she said, don't bother, we will live together. And that's how she came. And until then and until today, after she got married, she had her own car, but we used to go out by bus sometimes. Materially, she never used to ask. She has never asked me for anything, except that when will our room be air-conditioned? And she has stood by me in all ups and downs of life. I think the initial support and the initial uncertainty that she bore along with me was unprecedented. And that I have no words and no way in which I can thank her for her support. And to my family, that although my family members did not financially support me to go to the stock market, they never discouraged me, right? And my brother, I must say, I would not have been what I am today if my brother had not helped me raise money on loan from some of his clients. So in a way, all of members of my family have contributed to my initial start and success. And my father, from whom I learned so much, I think is one man I still miss so much today. And I bear no grudge that he did not support me financially. Because that made me more independent, more alert, more hardworking, more determined, and I stood on my feet.
Rakesh, the greatest love stories are always written inside a marriage, and I'm sure Rekha has proved herself to be a true partner. We'll take a break, come back and chat some more with Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, Nifty at 60.
Ever since I have known him, I have called him Rakesh Bhaiya. He's been like a true elder brother in every possible sense. He's been my friend, philosopher and guide. I am and I will eternally remain grateful to him for all his love, affection and teachings. Bhaiya is true fountain of wisdom which never ceases to give. Wishing you a very, very happy and a healthy 60th birthday. God bless you.
And welcome back. What do Bono, Hugh Grant, and footballer Diego Maradona have in common? They all share a birth year with my guest on Wizards. We are nifty at 60 with Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Rakesh, let me give you some examples. George Soros broke the Bank of England. Yuvraj hit 6 sixes in a row. Michael Phelps won 6 gold medals in the Olympics. All great decisive actions. In your career, what has been the best call that you think you've made?
Ramesh, I would not, there are 2-3 calls. One is I don't think I would have earned the well without the call of the Madhu Ranvate. First, I would not have been where I am if I had not taken the call to come to the stock market despite fierce opposition from everybody. My obituary was written even before I entered into the market. But despite that opposition, I came to the market. Then the call I took in Madhu Ranvate's budget. The call I took in the kind of friends and the I developed, Radhakishanji, yourself, Kamal Babu, the kind of company I developed. The call I took in 2000, the call I took on Titan, the call I took on Lupin. So I think these are some of they cannot be any one single event. But I think without the call of coming to the stock market, despite all opposition, nothing else would have been possible.
Fair enough, but once you were in the stock market, I think the call that made you into national headlines when you called the 2004 bull market, you said India was on the verge of a long structural bull market. How do you feel about that call today?
Well, that call was very good. I mean, that call was at the index of 3,000, today it's 35, 38,000. So I think it was a good call.
Were you scared on that call, Rakesh? I mean, it was a brave call to make at that time.
Well, it was testing time because I got extremely bullish in 2002 December. And the market really took off in 2003, March, April. And for about 12 to 15 months, I carried the highest leverage of my life. And I think there was a setback in the market in 2003 June, 2002 June, and I had to sell about 25% of my portfolio in 4 days. But I did that. I honored everything. And when the markets turned favorable, I leveraged. And then I made a good sum of money.
Rakesh, one thing that is almost inscribed with you is be bullish on India. You wear it on your sleeves. You shout it on television programs when you're there. How has that basic hypothesis shaped your investing life?
Well, it shapes me because see, the stock market valuation is going to depend on earnings and P. Now in P we have developed the best trading system in the world. We have a developed mutual fund industry. We have huge domestic savings. We have tax benefits and we have huge exposure to equity. Today 30% of household wealth in America is equity. In India it's not 3-4%. And then I have conviction that India will grow. India has the ingredients. You need ingredients to make good food or good vegetable. I think India has got the best ingredients for growth. So that growth is inevitable, and now it's not only an opinion, there's empirical evidence. Nothing is linear in life. Right? And there are going to be ups and downs. And I think what has kept India down for so many decades is this twist with socialism, which is slowly getting, it is a democratic country that as that twist with socialism, wears itself out, you see India will grow more and more. So I have no doubt that having the ingredients, being a democratic society, having exhibited the growth that we have, I see no reason why India will not have double-digit growth. So I see no reason why earnings growth will not take place in India. It cannot be not take place. And we have so much savings and so much under exposure to equity. So we have both the elements of price formation, which is P and EPS, I think which is going to grow. And my call has served me well. I don't think I could have earned the wealth anywhere else than what I did in the stock market.
Rakesh, so what you said in 2005 still holds true in 2020?
Absolutely. Because these basic ingredients of growth, which are skills, democracy, entrepreneurship, demographics, they cannot be destroyed. They are the ingredient of a society. Some are historical, some are accidental. I mean, our demographic benefit cannot be taken away. The skills of Indians cannot be destroyed. The democracy cannot be overruled. So these basic, the entrepreneurship is in our blood. We forget that in the 17th century, 40% of world GDP was India. So it's not as if, we are a newcomer come here. We are only trying to reach where we were about 4 centuries ago. So I see no reason why India is not going to have $15,000 or $20,000 GDP. So I am even confident that we will achieve it.
Great. Rakesh, there's an old saying about investing that you cut your weeds and you water the flowers. Or as Soros said, it's not whether you're right or wrong, it's how much money you make when you're right. I want to get some color on your decisions to make the 3 stocks that have defined your portfolio: CRISIL, Lupin, and of course Titan. Talk to me about them.
Well, Ramesh, all of them were bought when they were written off by the market. Of course, CRISIL was always a somewhat fancied stock. When I tell you, Ramesh, after I bought the stock, I became the largest single individual shareholder of CRISIL. And we made a presentation to the management team, the price was 400. We predicted the price will be 4,000 in 5 years. And they said, you're gone off your mind. And the price was 10,000 in 4 years. And Titan it was not by design, it was an accident. And it constantly, and Ramesh, there's a realization that no investment can give you a linear return. There will be years when it will underperform. But the question you get is the underperformance such that it will not perform again? So I think with my independent thought process, and my investment is always a risk reward. So I made those investments, and I tend not to sell my investments easily. That has helped me. And God has been kind. I've retained those investments despite a lot of, and some of them have underperformed also, like CRISIL in the last 4 or 5 years, both CRISIL and Lupin. But I've still held on to them.
So the genius sometimes is belief in the future of the country and to let compounding work as magic. That is what you need to do in good investing?
Absolutely. I and I think even Mr. Damani, I can speak on behalf of Radhakishan, we have unbridled faith in the capacity of this country to grow. And that faith is not dependent on you, me, on a political party, right? India has the potential and India will grow. And I think that I'm predicting the time has come when we are going to see major reform. I think we've seen major reform in the agriculture sector. We are going to see major reform in the other sectors.
Rakesh, you one of the few people who wear 2 hats successfully. That is a speculator and that is an investor. Put on your speculative hat for me for a minute. There's a famous saying that you've taught me, as a matter of fact, that speculation is done with a passbook, not a checkbook. And that in colloquial terms you say, vadare vadare levanu, ghatare ghatare bechvanu. Explain how those 2 proverbs have helped you speculate.
Ramesh, what is speculation? What is trading? It's all about price, right? See, to trade, what do you need to do? You need to have broad direction of market. You need not be an expert. You should know when to stake, what to stake, and when to take a loss. Now, what to stake, what happens? People try to, first of all, extract too precise a trend, too precise price movements, rather than broadly recognizing trends. Then initially people bet small, but when they make money, the bets get larger. And third is that, to take a loss goes against human nature, right? So if you can conquer these 3 things, I think you can be a very good trader. And see, trading gives you the highest ROE. It requires you to be alert 24 hours a day, right? The excitement of le batabat, de patabat, and the check mark, the draft you get into your account the next day is something else in the world, right? So I love trading, and trading is the source of all my wealth, because ultimately it is the trading money that I earned in trading that I invested.
Right. If you still had to choose, would you be a trader or an investor?
I would be both. Both has its own pleasures. But I think trading profits have greater pleasure. I don't have to say, if you can, I just say often, if you want to keep a mistress and a wife happy, you can be a good trader and a good investor.
You're one of the few people I know who can, have a trading mind and a speculating mind and an investing mind. It's so very difficult to separate the emotions of the 2, but you do it very successfully. Another thing that you do very successfully, Rakesh, is handle leverage. What are your thoughts on that? Most people have said avoid leverage. You have a more amiable view to leverage.
See, leverage is like personal habits of smoking and drinking. If done in a measured manner, they are a pleasure. If overdone, they are problems, right? So I think trading is emotionless. I would have known in life I had no capital from my parents or my in-laws or no other source of capital. It's only through leverage that I built wealth. So I think that it's good to leverage, but you have to measure leverage. It has to be emotionless. When it goes against you, nobody is going to come and save you. Hope you should keep your hope at home and act to reduce your leverage. Like Ramesh, I'm telling you, in 2002, I was so bullish, but I sold 25% of my portfolio in 4 days because I had to reduce leverage. Another thing in leverage also is it is emotionless. When you go wrong, there is nobody to help you. There is no father. There is no mother. Please cut the leverage. Also, there are times when you should leverage and a time when you shouldn't leverage. You shouldn't believe that, what leverage I had in 2003, my wealth in 2008 was much greater, but my leverage was not even 10% of what it was in 2003. So, all this, there are moments when you should leverage and there are moments when you should not leverage. Do you know with me what the valuation in 2002 was? So I think we should leverage, but in a measured manner and be emotionless and don't blame others. And if things go against you, square off and sit at home.
Let's talk about measurement, which you mentioned. Rakesh, there's a saying that Drucker used that culture eats strategy for lunch. How do you assess management? What is your feel of how to invest in a company? Do you look at financial? Do you look at management? Do you look at a combination of these events?
See, of course, I look at a combination. But first, when I was an inexperienced investor, I used to look very much on financials. As I progressed and I developed and I learned things in life, I now look more at business models. How good is the model? What are the reasons which create the profitability? What are the entry barriers? How will the profit stand out in difficult times? Then, of course, I assess the management, and I also try and assess the financials. I also try and assess whether attitude of management has changed. Because I think, Ramesh, the biggest wealth to be earned is in change. When things changed in Titan, when Titan gave up the international foray into watches, right? When Lupin, became a very well-governed company, and it became successful in the American markets, that was change. So, great of wealth. So we have to assess when in escorts, the escort management turned out to be, totally changed his attitude, right? We had to assess whether they will be able to do it or not. So I don't think that one investment theory works, but I can tell you one thing: nothing is sacrosanct in investing, and at a price, everything is investable. There are no time breakers.
At a price, everything is great and bet on change. What we'll do, we'll take a break, come back and chat some more with Nifty at 60 with Rakesh Jhunjhunwala.
On your 60th birthday, apart from everything else that I wish for you, I wish you great health and even greater happiness.
And welcome back to the Wizards of Dalal Street. I'm Ramesh Damani. Let me quote you some stats from the Forbes magazine of March 2020. There are 2,095 billionaires in the world, dollar billionaires. 614 are in America, 388 are in China, 102 of them are in India. Luckily for us, one of them is with us right in the studio. Welcome back to Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Rakesh, thanks you again for joining us on Wizard. Rakesh, two things that I need to ask you. Bill Gates wrote this book, Business at the Speed of Thought. And what amazes me is how fast sometimes you can put crores of rupees to work. How did you develop that ability?
Well, I developed that ability because I'm a risk taker at heart. And, I always took that risk commensurate with what wealth I had. Suppose I had 100, I would risk 20. So if I have the money available, and I feel that this reward is attractive to me, then I take the chance. And by nature, maybe I'm gutsy, maybe I'm speculative, maybe I'm independent thought process. I think it's a combination of that.
You're not scared of losing money, are you?
See, it's not. I mean, I have assessed, even if my wealth becomes 20% of what it is, I'm going to drink the same whiskey, ride the same car. Rekha and I are going to go for the same holiday. So it's not going to make much difference to us in our lifestyle. And I mean, Ramesh, I want to do what I enjoy what I do. So if I feel the thrill, and the thrill is in the taking the risk and being proved right. And I've not put all the crores at one step. I didn't put all the money into Titan at once. Of course, when Lupin was at a valuation, I thought it was incredulous. So, I mean, there is a thought process behind the staking of the money. It's not that it's done without thought.
Of course not. But Rakesh, you said the thrill of being proved right. But markets are a humbling place, as you will admit yourself. Some of the stocks don't work out. How do you deal with the loss? Do you take it personally, or is it about the money, or how do you deal with it?
Ramesh, the money never bothers me, because by God's grace, I've never staked so much that if I make a mistake, I'll not live to make another one. See, I'm conscious of the fact, Ramesh, that everything I do is not going to work out. I'm not God's gift to mankind that everything that I do will prove right. I know some decisions are going to go wrong. I'm not afraid to make a mistake, only make one which I can afford. So I may live to make another one. So whenever things go wrong, as they don't work out, I mean, I square up, I take the loss. The highest cost of that loss will be not learning from it, right? And saying, no, I was right. So as long as I learn from a mistake, I have no regrets in making mistakes. If I'm afraid to make a mistake, I'll be paralyzed. And if I think I will not make any mistakes, then I think I'm God. So I don't think, only when I judge that some people are of good character, and then, they are not what they are, that is emotionally hurting. But you overcome it with time.
Right. So misjudging management hurts you more than business failure in this case.
Absolutely. But I don't blame anybody else. I don't blame that person. It was my mistake. I judged it.
Right. Rakesh, though, when you became a billionaire, what are the downsides of being a billionaire? Do you find that people say what you want to hear, are scared to talk in front of you? What are the downsides that you face being a billionaire?
I have not faced any downsides of being a billionaire or not being a billionaire. I don't think it has changed my life in any way. Only the change is that there is a recognition socially that I have wealth. In fact, Rekha, until 2004, until I made jewelry for her, she never thought we were rich. So now people know socially that I have wealth. I don't think it has changed my life in any way. Except that when I go to a casino, I'm more recognized.
Rakesh, the other aspect of your life which always impresses me, there's a saying on Wall Street that if you want a friend, get a toaster. But you're legendary almost in Dalal Street for the number of turtles you've coddled. And I've been to innumerable birthday parties, anniversaries at 40, 50, 60, 25, where people to their face have said, I owe my career to Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. How is it that you've been able to be so generous with your ideas and thought process to so many people?
Ramesh, that is the way I am made as a human. Also, I feel that I have no younger brother. And what is it that anybody is going to take away from me? It is just, if I can share something and people can benefit from it, what is the greater good I can do in life? I am like an open book. I just cannot keep secrets. That's my nature. I try to, but I'm not that way. And then if somebody respects me, I feel I have a fiduciary responsibility towards them. And I am not envious. I don't feel envious if anybody becomes more successful than me or else more wealth. I am not in any comparison race. And I also get ideas from the young. I have learned a lot of things from my young friends.
But you are competitive, Rakesh, aren't you? I mean, and money is the measure of that competitiveness. So how do you give such easily your book, your ideas to other people?
Well, I am by nature, I am an open book, and I also get from others, right? And it's not that Radhakishan ji has taught me anything. I think I have learned from him. Similarly, it's not that necessarily I have taught others, they have learned from me. And I am not bothered that if they learn from me and they become more successful, I have no regrets, I will feel very happy. I have thought of it many times, but I am told also you should not share everything so openly, but I am what I am and I am going to be an open book. I don't want to change as a human for some financial competition or benefit.
Well, Rakesh, I'll say one thing about you as a tribute to you, which I've always really appreciated about you, is that there are a lot of young people who've stood on your shoulders to be able to look, and you've really handled that gracefully. On that thought, we'll take a break. We'll come back and chat some more with Rakesh Jhunjhunwala.
Happy 60th birthday, Bhaiya. You are truly a great mentor, a fantastic friend, philosopher, and admirable wizard. My warmest wishes for good health, joy, and happiness on your special day. Wishing you a beautiful day full of celebrations. Cheers.
Welcome back to the Wizards of Dalal Street. Oprah Winfrey once said, the biggest adventure you can ever take is to live the life of your dreams. Rakesh, my question to you, are you living your dream life?
Absolutely, Ramesh. Only to the disturbance in that dream is the lack of attention that I paid in my health and my personal habits in my early age. Apart from that, I have everything that I need. And I have the best of family, the best of friends, the best of markets, the best of children, the best of regard people have for me. What else could I want? Wealth far more than I need.
You're 60, you are aging. Do you have a sense of your own mortality, Rakesh?
See, Ramesh, I don't have the best of health, so I've thought of this, and I have young children. So earlier, say a year ago or 6 months ago, I should think and worry about this a lot. But I thought of two things. What is death? What is mortality? It's a permanent sleep. Once you sleep, you don't know anything. And death is like risk. You can try and model it. You can try and predict it. But you can never know it. It's like the markets. It's like weather. It's like risk. Right? And the only truth of life is death. And Hinduism believes, in which I believe, that death is part of life. It's only a soul which goes away. And what happens to the people who are left behind? From there I draw from, instance from a very close friend of mine who died very young, leaving no children, and his wife had very trying health circumstances, and she lived her life. So I said, even if I die young, my children will lead their life, their mother is there. So now I've thought, I cannot know it, I cannot predict it. So I've stopped thinking of it. I've thought, it will come. What can be done about it? We cannot burn the midnight oil just wasting time thinking about it. The only thing I wish is, God, the day you take me out, don't take me to the hospital, take me with a cardiac arrest. That is the only my wish to God. I don't wish him to give me 20 years more, 30 years more, 40 years more. He'll give me whatever he gives me. But please, take me with a cardiac arrest.
Always spoken like a true speculator, accepting reality for what it is, your health for what it is. But Rakesh, I must tell you this. I talk to a lot of your friends, and sometimes they tell me that those who watch you, that sometimes you're blank in the face, you want a second act in life almost. Do you want a second act in life? Do you want to have a career greater than the stock market?
No, I will never have a career other than the stock market. I have promoted some companies also. I am a stock market trader and investor. That is what I am. I am not a promoter. I am a promoter of 2 companies, 3 companies now, and 2 of them are fairly large companies. I am an investor, boss. I am going to sell those companies one day, right? My life is going to be in the stock market, but I would like to reinvent my life in the sense that I must have consuming interest other than the market. I must pay more attention to my health. Other than that, I don't think I need a second act in my life ever. And Ramesh, the breadth and depth of what we are doing, excuse me, it may sound as boasting, is quite difficult to understand, Ramesh. You first trade, then you earn money in trading, then you invest in listed equity. Now I have large unlisted investment in at least 8-10 unlisted companies. You interact with them, you develop with them, you interact with their management. I mean, the kind of things we are achieving, and I have one setback, that I don't have an organization. We are not even a 5-man army, we are a 3-man army. Rakesh, Utpal and Amit. So boss, the kind of work we are, the kind of output we give, Ramesh, according to me, with the kind of inputs and resources we have, is quite unimaginable and quite unbelievable. So I want to keep doing what I am doing, maybe in a more organized manner, and maybe devoting more time to my health and maybe some other interest. I don't want any other second career or anything.
But Rakesh, let me ask you this question as a senior statesman, someone who's been at Dalal Street for a period of 30 years or so. Among the next generation that you see, some of whom you've mentored, who do you think can hit the big time over the next few years? What are the promising candidates?
Ramesh, see, I feel, if you feel, as you say, that the 3 landmark carriers in the stock market have been Radhakrishnan, Nimishbhai and myself. See, we carry a characteristic which is quite unique, that we are good traders and also we are good investors. And we know how to separate those activities. See, I think there is not many people who have the courage and the ability to take risk and do trading and investing and completely compartmentalize them. So there are good players, maybe I'm not in touch with them, but I don't think we have the quality of players in what Nimishbhai and Radhakrishnan are. Second thing is, if you look internationally, money is made by managing other people's money. You know, a lot of people have earned well. Paulson, everybody has earned money in America by managing other people's money. The question is, in India, the pools are not so large enough. The rewards for managing money are not enough. So I think someone will emerge surely. Not someone, many will emerge. But to predict who they will be at this moment is difficult.
Rakesh, on a personal note, tell me something about yourself that if people found out, they would be surprised. You have a larger-than-life persona on the screen. You talk very freely. But there is something about you that people don't know.
I want to make a lot of Bollywood movies. I love making Bollywood movies. And not for interacting with heroines, I can do that otherwise also. But no, people told me, you want to make a movie because you want to interact with heroines. I told them I don't mix business with pleasure. So, I mean, I would love to make Bollywood movies.
Right. Great, that's nice to know. Rakesh, you have 3 wonderful children, a daughter who just had a birthday, 2 young sons. If you were to sum up your life and tell them your life and learnings, how would you do that?
See, the first thing I would tell them is the quest to learn is a journey and not a destination. So we begin life with learning and we will end life not having learned everything. So never lose the quest to learn and never think you know everything. Second thing I would tell them is that develop an independent thought process. Don't necessarily accept what everybody is saying. Don't necessarily not accept it. Have independent thinking, right? And then I would like them to do what they enjoy and enjoy what they do. Earning wealth may not be the greatest pleasure of life. I don't want necessarily for them to devote their life to earning wealth. Having said them, I want them to have their mother's skills, their mother's nature, my intellect, education, integrity, independence, and the power to give. And God bless them. I want them to be independent-minded, independent people. And I hope they turn out to be fair, charitable, and responsible citizens, is what I would tell them.
Fair enough. These are great wishes, and I'm sure they'll come true for your children. Rakesh, to wrap up the show, let me just ask you, you met so many personalities along your way. Some of them regrettably have passed away. So let me just ask you about a few of them and just give me your thoughts of how they've helped you or what their contribution has been. So let me start by asking you about an old-time broker at the BSE called Manu Manak.
See, he got emotional one day with me and he told me, Rakesh, after he saw when I traded his place for 1 year, 1.5 years, and he saw that I always used to pay in time, he told me, Rakesh, that's the best quality you have. Always be responsible in this market. Never delay a payment to a broker. You will then only be a successful speculator.
Okay. How about investor Chandrakant Sampath?
Well, he used to explain to me in 1988, 89, the importance of business models. As I developed my skill as an investor, I understood the wisdom of his words.
Your old friend and buddy, Rajiv Shah.
Well, his mannerisms, his guts, his friendliness, his honesty, and his sheer skill with technicals.
Inam director who passed away regrettably, Manik Bhansali, was a friend to both of us.
Well, Manik Bhai had a way of carrying a whole group of people with him. We had to learn that. He had a large flock of followers on the street, all of it who were very intimate with him.
A corporate chieftain, the Tata Sartap Darbari Seth.
You know, he called me and Radhakishan for dinner and drinks one day, and he told us in 97 that in this country, people disrespect successful people. They raise fingers on successful people. He said we should ignore them. We should learn from the traits of the successful people and try and emulate them rather than raising fingers at them. I think they were great words of wisdom, and I always followed that lead.
And lastly, banker Nanu Pamnani, who recently passed away.
Well, he was a person, I mean, his diligence, hard work, his painstaking work, his quest for detailing and perfection was unbelievable.
Rakesh, those are great sketches of the people whom you've crossed paths with in the last 30 years. Let's end this interview on Wizards with a rapid fire round, shall we?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Rakesh. So this is what you said. By 2024, you said Nifty will be 1,25,000. Do you stick to your prediction or are you going to revise it?
I'm going to revise it.
Which year?
And substantially so. I would say at least a decade later.
Decade later. Okay. Your dream budget actually was in the year?
I would say what affected me was the advertised budget. But I think some of the best budgets were presented by Mr. Sinha.
1989. Really? That's a surprising choice. Rakesh, your biggest indulgence is fill in the blanks.
Is whiskey.
And generally Royal Blue. Rakesh, if you could invite any three people over for dinner, dead or alive, who would they be?
George Soros, Winston Churchill and Vajpayee ji.
George Soros, Winston Churchill and Vajpayee. Great choice. Okay, Rakesh, now talk as an investor, not as a patriot. Would you rather invest in Shanghai Composite or the Sensex over the next 5 years?
Ramesh, I don't mix my patriotism with my investing. It is Sensex, Sensex, Sensex and Sensex.
Your two must-read news sources.
The Economist and the India Today.
Fair enough. Your truest love, Rekha or Titan?
Rekha, Rekha, Rekha and Rekha.
Good politically correct answer, Rakesh. Thank you for that. If you could only gift your daughter a gift of gold or bitcoins, what would you give to your daughter?
I will gift a brick of gold, return on it, never buy a bitcoin.
Rakesh, these are true or false? Market exists to find out specifically weaknesses in human nature. True or false?
False.
The only valuable thing a parent can leave their child is to be a good role model. True or false?
True.
Okay, Rakesh, the last two fill in the blanks. I or Rakesh miss the most in my life. Fill in the blank.
That I pay more attention to my health.
Last one. I wish I could fill in the blank.
Running 5 kilometers.
You miss that you haven't paid attention to your health? Is that what it is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Rakesh, I'll end this up by quoting to you an Irish proverb which goes, may you live as long as you want and may you never want for anything as long as you live. Thank you so much after 15 years for coming back on Wizard and sharing a part of your 60th birthday with us. Thank you very much, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala.
Thank you, Ramesh, for a nice question and having invited me and for your good wishes. Goodbye.
Thanks. Have a great birthday, Rakesh.